I watched my ex-fiance's face go white as the wedding coordinator handed him the invoice, the one I'd already paid 6 months ago, for a wedding that was supposed to be ours. There must be some mistake, Ethan stammered, his hand gripping Jessica's, my former best friend, a little too tight. There wasn't. Let me back up. A year ago, I thought I had it all figured out. Ethan and I had been together for 4 years, engaged for 8 months. We'd picked out the venue, this beautiful barn conversion about an hour outside Portland. Fairy lights, exposed beams, the works. I'd even put down the deposit myself because Ethan's graphic design startup was going through a cash flow thing. No big deal. We were a team. Jessica had been my best friend since college. She was supposed to be my maid of honor, obviously. The three of us hung out constantly. Movie nights at our apartment, weekend hikes, brunches where Jessica would joke about being the third wheel. Looking back, I can see it now. The way she'd touch his arm when she laughed. How she started dressing differently around him. Less casual, more effort. And Ethan, he began working late more often. Client meetings, he'd say, kissing my forehead as he grabbed his keys at 7 p.m. on a Thursday. I'd find Jessica's hair tie on our couch. Oh, she stopped by to drop off those wedding magazines, Ethan would explain. The faint smell of her perfume, that coconut vanilla one, lingered sometimes when I came home from my nursing shifts. I didn't dwell on it. I trusted them both completely. Then there was the phone thing. Ethan started keeping his cell face down. He'd changed his passcode, too. When I asked about it casually one morning while making coffee, he laughed it off. Just needed something more secure. You know how it is with client information. Sure, made sense. The truth came out on a Tuesday. The most ordinary Tuesday of my life until it wasn't. I'd come home early from the hospital. We'd overstaffed that day, and I was exhausted. I just wanted to collapse on the couch with takeout and trash TV. Our apartment was on the third floor, and as I climbed the stairs, I heard voices inside. Laughter. I recognized Jessica's laugh before I even turned the key. The door was unlocked. I pushed it open quietly, not sneaking, just moving carefully because I was tired and my feet hurt. They were on the couch, not just sitting. Ethan's hand was on her face, and they were kissing with the kind of intensity that doesn't happen by accident. This wasn't new. This was practiced, familiar. I must have made a sound, a sharp inhale maybe, because they broke apart. The look on their faces wasn't shock. It was guilt, mixed with something worse, relief. Like they were almost glad they didn't have to hide anymore. Emma, Ethan stood up, hands raised like I was a spooked animal. How long? My voice came out steadier than I expected. My nursing training, maybe. I've delivered bad news to families before. Sometimes you go cold and clinical when your brain can't process the emotion yet. Jessica at least had the decency to look at the floor. 3 months, she whispered. 3 months. We'd been picking out centerpieces 3 months ago. I'd been texting her pictures of bridesmaids' dresses. I wanted to tell you, Ethan started. We didn't mean for this to happen, Emma. It did. And honestly, I think I've been feeling disconnected from us for a while. The audacity of that honestly almost made me laugh. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. Not then, anyway. I looked at both of them, these two people I'd built my entire adult life around, and felt nothing. Numbness. Like someone had turned off all the lights in a house I used to live in.
I want you out by the weekend, I said to Ethan. The apartment lease was in my name. One good decision, at least. Emma, can we talk about this? Jessica reached for me. Don't. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Don't call me. We're done. I walked into our bedroom, my bedroom now, and locked the door. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the engagement ring on my finger. It felt heavy, foreign. Then I heard them whispering in the living room. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was urgent, worried. That's when I cried. Quiet, hot tears that soaked into my jeans as I sat there in the dark, listening to my life unravel in the next room. My sister Claire showed up that night. I'd texted her from the bathroom floor around midnight, just 3 words, "Need you here." She arrived with wine and mascara wipes, took one look at me, and got to work. "Okay," she said, sitting cross-legged on my bed while I told her everything. "So here's what we're going to do. You're going to cry for tonight. Tomorrow, we're going to be smart about this." Claire worked in corporate law. She had that terrifying capability to compartmentalize emotion and focus on strategy. I needed that. Over the next 2 weeks, I started paying attention, gathering things. I logged into our shared cloud account, the one Ethan never knew I still had access to because he'd set it up years ago and forgotten about it. I found photos, lots of them, time-stamped. Some dated back 5 months, not 3. I screenshotted everything, backed it up to my personal drive, sent copies to Claire. Then I noticed something weird in our joint bank account, the one we'd opened for wedding expenses. Ethan had transferred $3,200 out of it 2 weeks before our breakup. The memo said, "Deposit, venue." But I'd already paid our venue deposit 6 months earlier. I had the receipt. I called the barn venue, pretending to confirm details for our wedding. "Oh yes, Miss Parker, we're all set for your October date. We received Mr. Harrison's new deposit last month for the date change request." My stomach dropped. "Date change?" I kept my voice light. "Yes, moving from your original September date to October 14th. Is everything all right?" October. That was 8 months away from this conversation. He'd rebooked our venue for him and Jessica, using our joint wedding fund. I didn't confront them. Not yet. Instead, I did something that felt both petty and perfectly justified. I contacted the venue coordinator again, this time as myself, the person who'd made the original deposit and whose credit card was still on file as the primary account holder. "I need to clarify something about the booking," I said calmly. "There seems to be some confusion about the October date." Long story short, because my original deposit had never been refunded and my card was the primary payment method on file, I technically still had legal claim to the venue contract. Ethan's new deposit had just been applied to the remaining balance of the wedding package I'd originally booked. With Claire's help, I contacted a lawyer. We drafted a formal letter to the venue, clarifying that I was the original client, that the event was canceled under my instruction, and that any refunds should be processed back to my card. We included all the documentation, original contracts, payment receipts, email correspondence. The venue was apologetic and horrified. They had no idea there was relationship drama involved. They processed the refund within a week. All $8,500 of it, including Ethan's $3,200. But I didn't tell him that. I let him keep planning. Through a mutual friend who didn't know about the affair yet, I heard Jessica and Ethan had gotten engaged. Fast. They were planning an October wedding. The same venue, the same date he'd rebooked. I watched Jessica's Instagram stories. She'd unblocked me, probably thinking I'd unfollowed her. She posted pictures of invitation samples, cake tastings, dress shopping. One photo showed her holding a champagne glass at their venue during a planning visit. The caption, "Dreams coming true." October 14th arrived crisp and golden, classic autumn wedding weather. I didn't go to the venue. I didn't need to. But Claire did. She happened to be meeting a friend for coffee nearby. Pure coincidence, really. She texted me updates throughout the afternoon. 2:47 p.m. Guests arriving. She looks beautiful. I hate that. 3:12 p.m. Coordinator just pulled them aside. Ethan looks confused. 3:19 p.m. Oh my God, Emma. He's arguing with the venue manager. Jessica's crying. 3:45 p.m. They're canceling. Guests are leaving. This is chaos. Apparently, the venue coordinator had been trying to reach Ethan for weeks about the payment issue. He'd ignored the calls, assuming everything was fine because he'd paid the deposit. But when they arrived for the ceremony, the venue had no record of a valid booking, no payment beyond the refunded deposit, no contract. Just a very apologetic manager and a very expensive wedding party with nowhere to go. Ethan called me that night. I let it go to voicemail. "Emma, what the hell did you do? You sabotaged our wedding? That's psychotic. We can't get that money back. The venue won't work with us, and..." His voice cracked. "Why would you do this?" I deleted it without finishing. Jessica texted too. "I know you're hurt, but this was cruel. We were trying to move forward. You ruined what should have been the happiest day of my life." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I replied, "You ruined what should have been the happiest day of mine, with my fiancé, in my apartment, using my money. We're even now. Lose my number." The fallout was swift and satisfying in that quiet, karmic way. Mutual friends found out why the wedding had fallen apart. I didn't spread rumors. I didn't have to. Ethan and Jessica's defensive explanations only made them look worse. She sabotaged us out of jealousy doesn't land well when people learn you cheated with your fiancé's best friend and stole wedding money. Jessica lost most of her friend group. Turns out people don't love betrayal, even when it's not happening to them directly. Ethan's startup folded 4 months later, unrelated to me, but I'd be lying if I said I felt bad about it. They're still together, as far as I know. They eventually had some small ceremony at a courthouse. No fairy lights, no exposed beams. I got my money back, all of it. Put it toward a down payment on a small house with a garden. Claire helped me pick it out. It's been almost a year now. I still think about that Tuesday sometimes, how different my life looked when I woke up that morning versus when I went to bed. But I don't think about Ethan much anymore, or Jessica. Mostly, I think about the version of myself who walked into that apartment and found them together, and the version who walked out. How she could have collapsed, could have begged, could have believed him when he said it just happened. But she didn't. I've been on a few dates. Nothing serious yet. I'm not in a rush. My garden's coming in nicely, though. I planted tomatoes and basil last month. They're thriving. And honestly, so am I.